Hello everyone. In today's topic, you will learn how GDP and welfare are related. Whether GDP is a true indicator of welfare or not. So, let's start our topic GDP and welfare.
Now, before getting into the topic, once again understand the meaning of GDP. GDP means gross domestic product, and which is the total monetary and market value of all the finished goods and services produced within a country's boundary in a specific time period. Means all the value of finished goods and services which were produced within the boundary. Within the boundary means within the domestic territory of a country is known as GDP. Now let's understand how GDP and welfare are related. Suppose if GDP increases, then automatically production of goods and service increase, because if production of goods and service increase, then only GDP will increase. So they are related. That means if GDP increase, production of goods and service will increase. As production of goods and service increase, automatically availability of goods and service increase in the market. Means in market, people can easily get produced things. If they can buy whatever things available in the market, then their standard of living will also increase. That means the standard of living increase, so automatically their welfare also increase. The welfare of the people will also increase. So this is how GDP and welfare are related to each other. Suppose a person has more income and he can buy more goods and service. So we may start thinking that higher level of GDP or income of a person or a country as an index of greater well-being or the index of welfare of that people or the country. But it is not true, because rise in GDP is a simple indicator of development. It will not consider or include inequality in income distribution, environmental degradation, and deterioration in the quality of life. Thus, it requires the concept of green GDP. What is green GDP? When GDP is an indicator of sustainable use of natural environment and equitable distribution of benefit of development, it is known to be green GDP. That means it will include increased availability of goods and service, equitable distribution of income and wealth. Along with it, it will see or check the use of natural resources. That means economizing use of natural resources, and it will also check the quality of life, whether the quality of life is improving or not. So along with the development concept, it will also give importance to the environment and the quality of life. That is called the green GDP. Limitation of GDP, or why GDP is not considered as a good indicator of welfare. To understand that, let's take the first point, GDP and the distribution of income. Distribution of GDP may lack uniformity. The welfare may not rise evenly with the increase in GDP. It may benefit the rich class by making them more richer and the poor more poorer. Means if GDP of the country rises, the welfare may not rise as a consequence. Why? Because the rise in GDP may be concentrated in the hands of very few individuals or firms. For the rest, the income may be in fact fallen or falling. In such a case, we cannot say welfare of the country have increased. Non-monetary exchange. It is the next reason because of which GDP is not considered as a good indicator of welfare, because while calculating GDP it is not estimated. So non-monetary exchange activities are not evaluated in monetary terms, that is in money terms, or they are not paid activities. That means we are not paying money for these type of activity. So they may be left out of estimation of national income due to non-availability of data. Data were not available because we are not making any kind of payments for these activities. But the fact is that these activities do contribute to the welfare of the people. Means these activities are increasing the welfare of the people. Since GDP may not account for such activities, non-monetary exchange are service of housewife, mother, barter exchange, recreation from hobbies like gardening, dancing, etc. For all these activities, we are not paying any money, but it will increase the economic welfare and remain beyond the preview of GDP estimation. Means it is not included in GDP estimation because it will not give any record. As a result, GDP remains underestimated. Third reason is externalities. Externalities means unintended consequences of production or consumption that hurt or help an uninvolved third party. Means someone other than the producer or consumer is affected, then it is called externalities. It is divided into two: positive externality and negative externality. Positive externality means when consuming or producing a good causes a benefit to a third party, means advantage to a third party, then it is called positive externality. One example is giving: walking to work reduce congestion. Means if we are not using any kind of vehicle to reach our workplace, then it will reduce congestion, that is traffic jam. Next is negative externality. When consuming or producing a good causes a cost to a third party, means any harm or damage to the third party, then it is called negative externality. Example is given: air pollution causes an increase in pollution. One more example is given again: if you are using a vehicle and it will create pollution, there is a chance of accident or risk of accident and congestion, traffic jam. So all these are called negative externalities. So the value of all these negative externalities cannot be calculated in GDP. Such externalities such as positive or negative put some effect on social life of the people and are not calculated in GDP. It is therefore we can claim that GDP is not the true index of welfare of the country. Hope the topic is clear, that how GDP and welfare is related and why GDP is not considered as a good index or indicator of welfare. For more practice, do the assignment question and submit it on or before 4th May.